Hello, this video is part 2 of chapter 6 from Ecology 5th edition by Bauman and Hacker. In this video, we continue discussing natural selection and consider the joint effects of ecology and evolution. Hopefully by now you can answer the question, what is natural selection? But let's just go with a textbook definition. Natural selection is a process by which individuals with certain heritable characteristics tend to survive and reproduce more successfully than others because of those characteristics. Consider the remarkable adaptations of many kinds that exist in nature. Consider, for example, the skin extending from the neck to the limbs and to the toes and fingers of the flying lemur. This is a morphological adaptation that allows this terrestrial animal to glide from tree to tree in the rainforest canopies of Southeast Asia. Or the thorny devil's physiological adaptations that allow it to withstand the intense desert heat of Central Australia. Or the behavioral adaptations of the aquatic archerfish that hunts terrestrial prey by shooting a jet of water into the air. Why is it that organisms appear to be perfectly suited to their environment? How did these species and their unique adaptations appear? This is what Darwin called the mystery of mysteries. In the previous video, we saw how 4 processes can cause evolutionary change. Remember the 4 evolutionary forces? Among them, only natural selection can result in adaptive evolution, meaning selection makes populations better suited to their environments. This is because natural selection, unlike genetic drift, is not a random process. Natural selection consistently favors individuals with alleles that result in advantageous phenotypes, such that these favorable traits tend to increase in frequency over time. Darwin posited that adaptations appear through small incremental changes over long periods of time. While there is merit to this idea that evolution is an agonizingly slow process, scientists are discovering more and more examples of rapid adaptive evolution. Examples include the evolution of antibiotic resistance in bacteria, which happens in days to months, the evolution of resistance to insecticides by insects, and the evolution of decreasing body size and horn size in the bighorn sheep over several decades, as we discussed in the previous video. My own research on coyotes began with an interest in rapid evolution. In fact, the title of my PhD dissertation is Rapid Evolution of Northeastern Coyotes. The textbook provides an interesting example of rapid adaptive evolution in anole lizards. Following 2 hurricanes in a 2-week period, researchers found that compared to the lizards analyzed before the hurricanes, the surviving lizards had wider footpads and shorter legs, which are 2 genetically based traits. Experiments showed that these traits enhanced the ability of the lizards to cling to branches under high winds. It may be tempting to think that organisms are perfectly matched to their environments. But let us not fall into temptation. An organism's environment is not static. It is a moving target that is changing continually. Remember that Just as you cannot have a perfect plant adapted to all biomes, there is no such thing as the perfect organism. To survive and reproduce, organisms must perform many essential functions, such as acquiring food, escaping predators, fighting disease, and finding mates. Energy and resources are required for each of these essential functions. Hence, organisms face trade-offs in which the ability to perform one function reduces the ability to perform another. What other constraints do you think organisms face that may prevent them from evolving certain adaptations? This figure here illustrates a trade-off between reproduction and survival in red deer. Females that reproduced died at a higher rate than females that did not reproduce. This is a common trade-off because resources invested into producing offspring are not available to fight off disease and withstand environmental stress. Why are we talking so much about evolution in this class on ecology? My brother asked me several years ago, what does evolution have to do with ecology? To respond to his question, I remembered the book by the famous ecologist G.E. Hutchinson, The Ecological Theater and the Evolutionary Play. Remember that both ecology and evolution depend on how organisms interact with one another and with their physical environment. In this conceptual model, we recognize that ecological processes in populations, communities, and ecosystems can cause evolutionary change. On the other hand, evolutionary processes can alter ecological processes. Thus, rapid feedback effects can occur between ecological and evolutionary processes. Let me challenge you to think of an example in which the ecology of an organism has influenced its evolution, and vice versa. Hint: think of interactions between two species. Think about it and we'll discuss it together in class.